You're listening to the Sales Success Stories podcast, where we deconstruct world-class sales performers to provide insights and strategies to help you improve. To learn more, visit us at top1.fm. Here's your host, Scott Ingram.
On the podcast today, I have the 16th sample story from the Sales Success Stories book for you. While you can find 15 other stories from the book here on the podcast, the full book contains 60 stories from 20 different top 1% sales professionals. So here is Sales Loft's #1 seller, Kevin Walkup, with one of his stories.
Story 24, Your Network is Everything, by Kevin Walkup. A smart business person will never burn a bridge. Leaving my last company was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. Having landed some of the best accounts in the world, companies in which I'm still invested, which is another story altogether, I had no reason to look elsewhere. My boss and I shared a special bond. He knew he could count on me to produce and build relationships with the right people within the right accounts. He taught me to write down my goals, to keep them top of mind, and to strive towards exceeding them every day. Physically, checking off a goal as complete is incredibly rewarding, and I highly recommend experiencing that type of satisfaction. At the time, I was 25 years old, and I was incredibly driven by money. In fact, I still am. I once told my boss that one of my goals was to make $100,000 in 1 year. That sounded like more money than I could ever spend. It felt like he took this as a personal challenge, and he held me to it. He made sure that I didn't lose sight and had me draft a plan for how I could accomplish my goal. I will never forget the day that he walked up to my desk, handed me a box, and said, "Congratulations." And the box was a watch. He had been tracking my progress and knew I had hit my goal. This was over 6 years ago, and I'm wearing that watch as I write this. I think about him every day when I put it on. He was like a father figure to me. When it was time for me to leave the company to pursue a career in software sales, it was a tough conversation. I could have quit like that guy in the movie Half-Baked. One's personal network is too important to do that. I know better than to burn a bridge. Steve understood my decision and told me that the lights will always be on if I ever wanted to come back. Fast forward 4 years and I'm introduced to an SVP at a multi-billion-dollar organization where we have had a great conversation. He tells me he is the ultimate decision maker. However, I need to win over his counterpart, John, in order to proceed. The SVP makes an intro, and John replies almost immediately. And I quote, "Please send me an invitation for 12 noon Central next Wednesday. I have 30 minutes. Show me, tell me, wow me." John gets straight to the point and doesn't mess around. I thought, this guy is not going to be easy. I need to do some homework on John, so I look him up on LinkedIn. Much to my surprise, I see John is connected to my old boss. Steve is in a completely different industry, so it's not like they're just randomly connected. I then shoot a quick text over to Steve asking about how he knows John. Seconds later, my phone rings. It's Steve. He couldn't believe I just dropped the name of one of his best friends. I tell him about the situation and about the half-ass email I just received from John. He laughs and isn't surprised. He tells me he will call him. The following Monday morning, I received this email from John. "Okay, you just earned an hour." Smiley face. "Steve Hurst called me Friday night. I understand he hired you as a young sales rep in Atlanta. I have almost 25-year history with that man. Not only is he one of my closest friends on this planet, but he was my business partner. Together, as very young guys, we built a world-class business in Columbus, Ohio. My SVP, Barry, met him at my wedding. He tells me you're a younger version of me. That was absolutely quite something to hear. He told me the story about the watch he gave you and what you're made of. I'm looking forward to meeting with you and hearing what you have and how it might help us." The relationship I kept with Steve over the years changed the entire shape and speed of my conversation with John. I was now walking into a warm room as a trusted advisor carrying some clout, rather than meeting with someone that was taking a call because his boss told him to do so. 2 years later, John and I continue to stay in touch, and he has become a mentor to me. Had I departed from my last company like Scarface did from Half-Baked, my relationship with Steve would have been tarnished, and I therefore wouldn't have been walked into an incredible opportunity with an incredible organization. Another mentor of mine, Ralph Barcy, once told me, "If you treat people as if they have a 10 on their head, Good things will come of it. It may not be today, tomorrow, or even next month, but you will be remembered and it will pay off. Your personal brand works for you 24/7. What is gone today may come back tomorrow in a different shape or form. Allow your network to walk you into accounts with a warm handshake and a smile. Your personal brand and your network will help accelerate your sales process, win more deals, and earn more referrals.
If you haven't yet picked up your copy of the book, hop over to top1.fm/book for links to all the different formats and retailers. And if you love these stories and aren't already on the podcast listener list, which you should be, you can join for free at top1.fm. You missed a really fun email last week with a giant sneak preview. Do yourself a favor and get on that list, then reply to the welcome email and ask me to send you the red pill, blue pill email. I'll know what you mean. Then come back next week for another interview from another top performing sales professional.
Thanks for listening to the Sales Success Stories podcast. To be sure you never miss an episode, and for an invitation to our sales success community powered by Influitive, subscribe to our newsletter at top1.fm.